So, last time these two squads met, I guess you could call it the sucker punch, beating LA by a final score of 4-2. But it looks like LA got the last laugh in this contest. It's the Pens and the Kings. Welcome aboard Penguins postgame, which starts on its new home of On the Ice and Behind the Benches right now. Welcome to Sports for Beginners. This is the show where I cover the Pittsburgh Penguins, Toronto Blue Jays, and take you on a journey through the world of sports. From the fans' perspective, here is your host, Scott McGregor. Let's have some fun. Kings 2, Kings 3, excuse me, Penguins 2. Kevin Falea breaks tie with 500th NHL point. Congratulations to him as the Los Angeles Kings say thank you very much to the Pittsburgh Penguins. They improved to 7-5-4. Penguins going to 9-5-3 after dropping 3-2 to the Los Angeles Kings. Now, the last time the Kings and the Penguins played earlier this season, it was the Penguins coming out on top with a 4-2 victory. Not this time. Oh, by the way, that was in mid-October, just a month ago. Welcome aboard Penguins postgame here on the Ice and Behind the Benches. I am Scott McGregor, your host of the program. Is the Penguins and the Kings are head coaches of conversation. Jim Hiller against Dan Muse in goal, making his NHL debut for the Pittsburgh Penguins and in his NHL career. Say hello, hockey fans, to Sergei Marashov. He makes his NHL debut. Backing him up, Artur Shilovs, as the Penguins try to come in fresh off of a 2-1 loss at the hands of the now top of the league New Jersey Devils. Well, actually, they were top of the division. But if the Penguins were able to win that game in the shootout, which obviously didn't happen, they would be top of the league in the Metropolitan. Didn't happen. Devils beat the Penguins in the shootout. Let's move on. On the other side of the ice, as we go back to our Between the Pipes opening segment, who would get the go for the LA Kings? Anton Forsberg in at backup, Darcy Kemper in goal. That was quite the swap. This afternoon game took place, it was an afternoon showdown, and it took place inside PPG Paints Arena just 7 minutes after 2 p.m. Eastern to the exact, and of course, everywhere else, but 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. 11 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. in the UK, and 8 p.m. in Sweden and in France. Yes, that's right. Sweden and France are in the same time zone. So 7 minutes after those, if I am not mistaken, that is when this game got going. Referees wearing the numbers 13 and 38, Herman South and Peter MacDougall. The linesman or linesperson in this contest wearing the numbers 57 and 88. Tyson Baker wearing number 88 and wearing number 51, Andrew Smith. 3-2 once again was our final score, and here's how it happened. Let's go into the game, shall we? Remember, last time LA and Pittsburgh played each other, it was the Kings on the losing end. This time it was Pittsburgh on the losing end. Here's how it began. We start off with our penalty marker going by team. The only team to take a penalty in the first period was the Pittsburgh Penguins. Penguins captain Sidney Crosby nabbed for hooking at 14 minutes and 34 seconds. A few seconds later, Anze Kopitar puts in his second goal of the season, a PPG for LAK, putting the Kings in a tie with the Penguins. They did not score first. Kevin Falea with his fifth assist of the season. Corey Perry with his fourth assist of the season. Time of that goal, 14 minutes, 58 seconds. At this time, LA was trailing 1-0. How did they trail 1-0? Well, let's go to the Penguins side of scoring. Tommy Novak. Speaking of seconds, he puts in his second goal of the season. Evgeny Malkin. He's having a pretty good year. Evgeny Malkin's having a pretty good start to his year. 18 assists already on the year. And Parker Wotherspoon with the other assist. That is his fifth of the season. Goal came at 8 minutes, 48 seconds. Penguins take the early lead. The Kings answer on the power play. We're tied up at 1 after 1. Shots on goal for the period. 14-10 Penguins over the Kings. And again, that's shots on goal for the first period. 14-10 in favor of the Penguins. Let's go to period number 2. Starting again in the penalty summary. Penalties galore here. Let's go in order with the time of penalties leading to a goal. The only goal scored in the second period, which would give the Penguins a 1-goal lead advantage heading to the third, as the Kings were not able to score on the second period of play in Pittsburgh. And this was actually on military night for the Penguins. That was our theme night, where we honor the veterans who have served Pittsburgh, as well as what's coming up this week on Tuesday, Veterans Day in the US, and of course, Remembrance Day everywhere else, including Canada. We'll talk about that momentarily, but back to the action. So we begin with a Ryan Graves penalty, 2 minutes and 54 seconds into the period for interference. Ryan Graves with an interference call that the Penguins are able to kill off. They would go to the penalty kill 2 more times, but before they did, Cody Ceci is called for tripping. Around this time, we're still tied at a goal apiece. Kings 1, Penguins 1. Time of the penalty to Cody Ceci for tripping, 5 minutes, 52 seconds. Anthony Mantha answers on the power play, and just like that, ladies and gentlemen, not only do the Penguins find themselves ahead 2-1, but they do so answering on the power play. A 2-minute minor for Cody Ceci. More like a 5-minute minor to the a 4-minute minor, I should say, but he only got 2 minutes. In any case, Anthony Mantha puts the puck in the net, his 8th of the year, 8th as a Penguin. Christopher Letang, we mentioned him on our Devils recap, but of course, before the Devils recap, he eclipsed the 600 assists mark. He now has 7 assists on the season. Ville Kovalevin also has an assist in this game, his second assist of the season. Penguins lead 2-1. Other penalties that take place in the period: Anton Heinen called for high sticking at 7 minutes and 54 seconds. Brandon Clark called for hooking at 11 minutes and 20 seconds. And Jone Koponen called for delaying the game, puck over the glass, a 2-minute minor at 16 minutes and 40 seconds. Penguins take a 2-1 lead into the locker room heading to the third, where, guess what? Unfortunately, they don't score, but guess what? The officials do not call a single penalty to either side. We'll go to the goals in just a moment, but before we do, score after 40 minutes was 2-1. Shots on goal for the game, 23. to 19. Shots dead even after 2 periods of play at 9-9, but the Penguins outshooting the Kings for the game 23 to 19 and leading by a goal. They would eventually outshoot the LA Kings 33 to 27 on account of 10 shots to LA's 8 shots on goal after the regulation time period. However, on those 8 shots, the LA Kings do score 2 goals on those 8 shots. The first from Corey Perry, his 7th of the season, assisted by Cody Ceci, his 3rd assist of the season, and by number 12, Trevor Moore, his 2nd assist of the season. Time of the goal, 4 minutes, 49 seconds. Penguins now in a tight one again. Let's go to the next goal of the game, and that was a goal by Kevin Falea, his 7th goal of the year. Drew Doughty with his 4th assist, of the season. Alex Lafreniere picking up an assist as well. Time of the goal, 11 minutes, 52 seconds. This would ultimately end the game as the Kings hang on to beat the Penguins 3-2 today in Pittsburgh. More totals, including a reiteration of our shots on goal for this game at 33 to 27. 3 stars of the game, a look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and of course, getting ready for Preds versus Penguins from Stockholm, Sweden in the 2025 NHL Global Series. Preds and Pens preview still to come. Of course, the record officially for the Predators is not yet determined because they still have to play the Rangers on Monday before they head up to Stockholm. This is Penguins postgame on the ice and behind the benches. And when we return, game totals, 3 stars of the game, out-of-town scoreboard, and the play of the game, all when Penguins postgame on the ice and behind the benches return.
CNT Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down, nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on CNT Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on CNT Radio.
Take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo, 2 powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
I wonder if I could make it. It's almost getting to 8 o'clock p.m., and I am still a few more steps away from home to get to my computer to listen to CNT Radio's Cosmopolitan Culture Club. The best of the best music from around the world. Can't wait. I think I made it. CNT Radio, making your day brighter, one song at a time.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Penguins Postgame, another losing edition of Penguins Postgame, here on the ice and behind the benches. Welcome back in. If you're tuning in from Sports for Beginners, I hope you enjoyed our coverage of Ovi versus Sid. That was the last victory for the Pittsburgh Penguins before back-to-back losses against the Devils. And then here on Military Appreciation Night, I should say military appreciation afternoon because, well, they call it night in their promotion. I think that's what it was for the Kings. But anyways, moving on. The team loses 3-2 in Pittsburgh, but it was a bit of a better outcome despite losing in the shootout yesterday 2-1 to division rival New Jersey Devils. And that's those kinds of meetings against division opponents. I'm going to be straight with you. Those kinds of meetings when you're playing a division opponent, they can really shake things up for you. All right, enough gab. Coaching, goaltending, officiating crew out of the way. Darcy Kemper winning the NHL debut of Sergei Marashov. Sorry, Sergei, if I pronounce your last name wrong. Sincerest apologies from a Penguins fan to player, and sincerest apologies to the family as well. But welcome to the NHL, Sergei Marashov. I'm trying to get the name right. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, again, sincerest apologies to the family and the player, and I would be more than happy to hear from you for the correct pronunciation, just in case I'm getting it wrong. Welcome to the league. Would have loved for you to get your first win in your first start in goal, but not to be the case. But it was one heck of a game. Yeah, sorry, Joe and Phil. I couldn't really tune in because I had another game to really watch. Buffalo and Miami, but that's what I get for being a sports fanatic. No disrespect to anybody who is a sports fanatic. Let me just be clear. No disrespect to anybody who is, like me, a sports fanatic and likes a bunch of different teams. But Joe and I believe Phil have the call on the radio. I did see something on the air or on Penguins Live, or sorry, Penguins Radio Network is where I found it. I did see something around those lines of a game call. Got to try to figure out if that was today or the last time they were together, the Penguins Radio Network. Follow the Pens Radio Network on Instagram at Pens Radio Network. You'll get calls from people like Paul Staggerwald and Michelle Craigiolo, or Mish, as they call her. You'll get calls from Joe Brand and the old 2-9er Phil Burgh. And of course, Brian Metzer and Staggy have you called on Penguins Live Weekly, Penguins Live Pregame, and Penguins Live Postgame. But in all seriousness, and back to the hockey game, it is time to get down to our stats. And our play of the game and stars will jump in around this timeline. I'll also utilize here on my actual phone through the NHL app stats that we are currently not able to get to, including shots on goal per period, but we did get through that before we hit the break as we went through it, going over the penalties and scoring. So here we go with our rest of the game stats. Just a reminder in case you missed it, it was 33-27, the final in the shots on goal tally. Penguins winning 27 of the 54 face-offs played out today. Also, the same can be said for the Los Angeles Kings. 54 face-offs won. 54 face-offs in the game. 27 of them won. But according to the Penguins tally here, it was actually 52% for the Penguins and 48% for the Kings. Shots on goal, though, are as follows, 33-27. Power play for the Kings went 1 for 4. That means the Penguins' penalty kill was 3 for 4. Just like the Penguins' power play, which went 1 for 2 on the day, the LA Kings' penalty kill also going 1 for 2. LA with 7 blocks. Pittsburgh with 17. They outhit the LA Kings 19-9, which is a 10-point hit moment. The penalty minutes for the LA Kings was 4 minutes in the box for the Kings, 8 minutes in the box for the Penguins. And on the topic of giveaways and takeaways, the Kings with 3, the Penguins with 2 in terms of takeaways, and in terms of giveaways, the Kings with 15 and the Penguins with 16. Brian Rust after the game, per Penguins team reporter Michelle Cracchiolo of Penn's Inside Scoop, said, quote, I just don't think that we played well enough tonight. It's as simple as that. Sergei Marashov also spoke to the media after the game, saying, quote, fans were really supportive for me. I felt it and truly appreciate it. Definitely, it's a great building, great city, great people here. Brian Rust also speaking on goaltender Sergei Marashov, saying he's obviously an unbelievable goalie. You saw it tonight. He made some big saves for us. I think we would have liked to be a little bit better in front of him and not give them some of those grade A's that we did. So grade A chances that the Penguins did give them. In case you were wondering what he meant by that. Rutger McGorty also spoke on Sergei Marashov, saying, overall, he's such a great goalie. I feel like he makes big time saves that no one expects him to make, but he also makes those saves that you should make, and he makes them look very easy. Yeah, you know what? I need to actually take a look at these highlights when we get out of here because I need to see what the players are talking about. Because, yeah, I was listening to the Buffalo Bills game during game time, and that's the trouble with games at 2 p.m. on a hockey day, and then you also have to deal with football, which is at 1 o'clock. Yeah, okay, it's an hour after the football game starts, the Penguins game will start. But that doesn't really leave you time to hop on in and join the pregame show before the game begins. I don't know, maybe that's something on my part. Anywho, let's go to our 3 stars of the game. And they are presented by the sponsors of the Penguins on the respective networks. As I have mentioned in episodes before, we're refraining from doing that. But let's go ahead and get to the stars of this hockey game. I also have them written down on my notes, and that was something I was going to do and will continue to do before we bring the show on the air. So, your 3 stars of the game, your third star went to Penguins forward Tommy Novak. And hold on 1 second, let me bring it up here. 1 goal, 1 point, no assists. Your second star went to LA Kings forward Corey Perry. 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points. Same thing for LA Kings forward number 22, Kevin Falea. 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points. He was your first star of the game. And you know what? Kevin Falea actually he really deserves to be a 3 star of this contest. He really does, because first and foremost, although the dude had a 2 point night, he also Kevin Fiala, I should say. I've been messing up his name throughout the show. My bad. Kevin Fiala, there we go, has broken a record. Sorry, not broken a record. He has scored his point as he breaks the tie in the third and helps get the assist to help the Kings rally past the Penguins. Let's read a little bit of our full coverage on this. Point number 500 was also recorded of Kevin Falea's NHL career, if I'm not mistaken. Wes Crosby of NHL.com brings out the following. Kevin Falea broke a tie midway through the third period and had an assist helping the Los Angeles Kings rally for a 3-2 win against the Pittsburgh Penguins at PPG Paints Arena on Sunday. Falea put Los Angeles ahead 3-2 at 11 minutes and 52 seconds, stick handling around Pittsburgh's defenseman Erik Karlsson, and shooting over a sprawling Sergei Marashov. It was his 500th point in the NHL. Congratulations to him on achieving that. The winning goal came after Corey Perry tied it at 2-2 at 4 minutes and 49 seconds with a wrist shot at the high slot off a drop pass from Cody Ceci. Falea said post-game, it was an important win. Great character. We started a little bit slow, got better and better. And in the third period, we took over. I felt really good, to be honest. Honestly, I came into the game and I just had fun, you know? I tried to feel the puck again, make plays, don't overthink, sometimes slow the game down. It worked today, so it was great. Perry also had an assist, and Anze Kopitar scored for the Kings, record now 7-5-4, who had lost 3 of 4 with a record of 1-2-1. Darcy Kemper made 31 saves for Los Angeles, which is 6-1-2 on the road and 1-4-2 at home. Kings coach Jim Hiller said post-game, last year we couldn't lose at home, didn't win a lot on the road. This year it's just different. It's just hockey. Sometimes it's hard to explain. We wanted that one. We were in and out for the first 40 minutes. I didn't think we gave them a lot. Dan Muse saying after the game, number one, we need to win games. We need points. There's clearly still room for improvement there. The last 2 games, no points tonight, 1 point yesterday. So it's going to be about that. We need to get points. Marashov made 24 saves in his NHL debut, and Tommy Novak and Anthony Mantha scored for the Penguins, and they have now lost 4 of 5, 1-3-1, including a 2-1 shootout loss at the New Jersey Devils on Saturday. Novak gave the Penguins, want to make sure I say this right, he gave the Penguins a 1-0 lead at 8 minutes and 48 seconds of the first period. Firing a backhand pass from Evgeny Malkin just above the crease, Kopitar tied it at 1-1. On the power play at 14 minutes and 58 seconds, a wrist shot from a sharp angle at the near wall and in off the inside of Marashov's left pad. Mantha scored with 4 seconds remaining on the power play to put Pittsburgh back ahead 2-1 at 7 minutes and 48 seconds of the second period after taping the puck between his legs to Chris Letang at the point. He took a return pass for a wrist shot from the slot. Hiller said, and this is the LA Kings coach, he said, we really had to decide after 2 periods. We're down by 1 on the road. If we had the energy to come out and really go for it, that's what happened. Yes, that is what really happened. All right, more from that article from Wes Crosby can be found by going to the link that you could have seen on the screen as I was going over it. NHL.com/news/Los-Kings-Pittsburgh-game-recap-November. And in case you missed it on Bill's postgame, I mentioned that effective December 1st, 2025, the Broadcast Map Network presents the Ali Musa Show. So the Broadcast Map Network is changing the Broadcast Map Show, which is a podcast, to the Ali Musa Show. That takes effect December 1st, 2025. So from now, Broadcast Map remains the Broadcast Map Show, but effective December 1st, 2025, it will be called the Ali Musa Show. And in case you're wondering what that means for the show, for those of you that listen to the show and also listen to Sports for Beginners, we want to let you know that the reason for this name change is to better reflect the content Ali and the gang at Broadcast Map bring as we talk broadcasting, sports media, my favorite sports teams, as well as news and politics, is what Ali has said in the newsletter there. There was also an update letting people know that, and heads up for this one, Locked On NHL listeners, especially those who are Islander fans, you know him, you love him. Okay, some of you may not like him. Some of you will like him, obviously, but regardless, it doesn't matter. But Gil Martin is joining the show in 7 days from tomorrow. So not tomorrow, but next Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Mountain, midnight in the UK, and 1 a.m. in France and in Sweden. Join Ali and Gil Martin, host of Locked On Islanders and Locked On NHL, as they talk NHL. The show will be moving from 30 minutes to 1 hour to allow for expanded conversations. If you would like to follow Gil Martin on what they call X, but I call it Twitter, and I will continue to call it Twitter, here's how you can do it. As I share the screen with the Broadcast Map newsletter here. If you are looking for Gil Martin on X, but you want to do it in the browser, all you have to do is type in, and those are the short forms, by the way, for New York Rangers and New York Islanders. The show is also available on YouTube. And if you want to find Gil's Twitter account, as it's called now, X, I still call it Twitter, and I will continue to call it Twitter because it's better to call it the old thing instead of now what is called the new thing now. At least for me, that is. Simply head over to www.youtube.com/LockedOnIslanders, or type in, if you're on YouTube, Locked On Islanders, and subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. All of the Locked On podcasts are available on Spotify and, of course, Apple Podcasts, etc. Want to know how to get in touch with Ali when the show becomes what it becomes? Well, here's what you do. You could do the logical thing and go to broadcastmap.org, or go ahead and take a look at the new URL, www.thealimusashow. That's www.thealimusashow. However, the broadcastmap website will take you to that new site. All right, back to hockey. So we've talked about the 3 stars of the game. We still have the shake of the game to get to, the play of the game to get to. I want to do an out-of-town scoreboard, but we'll wait for the next break to do that. Before we get to the next break, let's go ahead and get the play of the game out of the way. Like I do for the 3 stars of the game, we're going to refrain from using the sponsors that we normally do. But of course, if you listen to the Penguins radio network, you already know what that is brought to you by. So for me, I think if I was going to give any indication of a play of the game, I'd go and give it to Anthony Mantha, picking the Penguins right back up the lead. Of course, they would eventually lose it in the second period and not be able to recover as Kevin Fiala puts the game on ice. Kevin Fiala, I should say, puts the game on ice. But my play of the game, and all credit to the guys at Sportsnet Pittsburgh, should we have that feed, or all credit to the broadcast for LA, but of course, all credit to the NHL, the LA Kings, and the Pittsburgh Penguins in general. My play of the game is the Ville Kovalevin, Christopher Letang, Anthony Mantha power play goal. The goal by Anthony Mantha, which put the Penguins up 2-1 in the second period over the Los Angeles Kings until they eventually lost 3-2, which was our final score, due to back-to-back even strength goals by the LA Kings. Anthony Mantha's 8th goal of the season that we're going to play the audio for is good enough for my play of the game. Here are the people who called it on Sportsnet Pittsburgh. I understand it looks like Joe and Phil are reunited. So, that being the case, want to take this time before the play of the game begins on the TV side, as the audio will portray. Want to take this time to congratulate Joe and his family on their newborn child, but let's leave it just in case that's not exactly the case. So, Joe, I'm holding through, but I believe I saw on the Pens radio network post that you and Phil were reunited. So I don't know whether or not you did have your child that you were talking about during the Capitol broadcast. Michelle and Paul, I regret to inform you that I wasn't able to, well, actually I did hear most of the game. Not a lot of the game against the Devils, but I did hear most of that game. Again, started at 12:30. I was at a commitment until about 2 p.m. yesterday. but that's besides the point. I'm looking forward to the post game, which is available on the Penguins Radio Network podcast feed, as well as Penguins Live Weekly and the other respective shows, the GM show and the Coaches show, which you can hear on WXDX FM Pittsburgh. Without further ado, here's my play of the game, called on Sportsnet Pittsburgh by Josh Getzoff and his partner standing with him. And as I mentioned in the previous shows that I've done, Josh, shout out to you. Love your game day question of the days when they happen.
Mantha gets those legs churning back up ice. Nice tap pass to the tank. Almost went the full 2 minutes, and that chance right there, Koivunen, and quick. Right to the one touch up top. What a give and go. We've seen the Penguins execute these little high give and goes. This one, just a touch between the legs, right back to Mantha. What a play by Mantha. Koivunen gets it started. It's on his stick, off his stick. And
That looks like Mike Rupp on the call with Josh. Maybe it was Colby Armstrong. But regardless, that is good enough for my play of the game. And that will take us to the second break of the program. When we return to Penguins postgame, time for the Shake of the Game, which is our Player of the Game segment. We also have the Game Puck of the Game, and we also have on the call, coming up, we also have setting up the series in Stockholm, Sweden. Now, just to be clear before we go to break, the record for the Nashville Predators currently is 5-8-4. They will play the New York Rangers tomorrow night. That will ultimately determine what their record will be going in to the 2025 NHL Global Series in Stockholm, Sweden. The one thing that is determined is the Pittsburgh Penguins record. They will enter Stockholm, Sweden at a record of 9-5-3. We will be setting that up down the stretch of this show. Shake of the game, Game Puck of the game, out of town scoreboard right out of the break. Then another quick timeout, and it's time to set up Stockholm, Sweden. Where will we go after that? Find out in a break time. Game Puck of the game, Shake of the game, and the out of town scoreboard coming out of that break when we return.
What a busy traffic on this Friday evening. I am almost stuck in this traffic for the last 40 minutes. And there is no way, I think, for me to get to the show. The CNT Radio Song Bank, which is going to start very shortly. It's one of my favorite shows. And my, what a way to wind down for the weekend. Perfect 2 hours of fun-filled music. And she has so many great features. Sound of Music, Undercover, Foreign Exchange, Name That Tune, and the big wheel that she spins for Who's That or Where Are We? We cannot forget about the international stage. I have never come across such a great show in my life. I think I will have to press hard on my accelerator and go as fast as I can to get home in time. Wow! Wow! Look! I made it! I am almost there! CNT Radio, making your day brighter, one song at a time.
Oh, Oh, the game's over. Really? Yes, really. But you know what? It's not quite over because the content continues. Join us after select PWHL games this year on Sports for Beginners for the return of PWHL Recap. We got everything you'd like, from 3 stars of the game, the women's hockey player of the game, the play of the game, the dominant star to watch, all on PWHL Recap, coming back this fall and winter to Sports for Beginners, the podcast, with your host, Scott McGregor. You won't want to miss a minute of the action. We may not cover all games, but we will definitely make sure we sprinkle in the expansion teams against some of the original 6, which are the Vancouver Golden Eyes and the Seattle Torrent. You won't want to miss it, and it all starts soon.
Hi, Scott. It's Ali here. I just wanted to mention that I'm really enjoying the show and I'm really enjoying what you're putting together. And I wanted to just say I'm enjoying being a part of it as well. So please keep up the phenomenal work and make sure you guys keep this podcast going because it really suits you well.
Dan, just thoughts on Sergei in his first NHL game.
I thought he played well. I thought he was he had to come up with some big saves there for us. Yeah, obviously, like that first one's kind of a weird bounce. No, I thought he played well. He gave us a chance. That's what we need from our goaltenders.
We'll let this thing play out here as it's trying to run, but we did get Dan Muse on his thoughts on on Sergei Marashov. And I think even though I haven't seen the highlights yet, I think he has played pretty well, as a Penguins player. So what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and run this back. But while we prepare to run this back, we're going to go ahead and stop our shared screen and bring it back when we bring up our scoreboard, which is the action currently going on right now. And so far, just 2 more games set to start. Those are the Canucks and Avalanche and the Jets and Ducks on the slate right now. Currently playing in the 3rd period, we have quite a battle brewing here between the Hurricanes and Maple Leafs. Hurricanes leading the Maple Leafs right now 5-4 in the 3rd period of play. Earlier finals, besides the Penguins falling 3-2 to the Los Angeles Kings, Connor Bedard and company beat the Red Wings 5-1. The Seattle Kraken fall 2-1 to the Dallas Stars, and the Utah Mammoth falling 4-2 to the Ottawa Senators in Ottawa today. And ongoing right now, starting the 3rd period as we speak, is the Minnesota Wild. That game started about 8 o'clock Eastern tonight. Did it start at 8? I'm pretty sure it did. I'll double check to make sure, but it's in the 3rd regardless. 2 10 o'clock games set to start momentarily. Those are the Avalanche and Canucks and the Jets and Ducks. Records right now for those teams: 9-1-5 for the Avalanche. The Canucks are 8-8-0. Jets 9-5-0 against a 10-3-1 Ducks team right now. So let's go. Actually, I'm going to go ahead here on my NHL app and check this out for myself. Checking the Ducks thing for a second to see, sorry, not the Ducks, the Wild, to see when exactly did this game start. So when exactly did they drop the puck? So it was indeed an 8 o'clock start. It was a 7 p.m. Central start. Started 8 minutes after 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. That is a 1-0 score. Matt Boldy with the opening goal coming in the 2nd period. Calgary has faced a too many men on the ice bench minor, and nothing happening in the 1st period as far as penalties and scoring are concerned. Penalties happening galore in the 2nd period of play. Jonas Brodin, 2 minutes for hooking at 8 minutes and 13 seconds. Matt Coronado, 2 minutes for high sticking at 8 minutes and 17 seconds. And then at 16:03, 16 minutes and 3 seconds, AK, 2 minutes for hooking. Before we go back to Dan Muse and then get to our shake of the game, 4 games on the slate. We mentioned one of those games early on. That is the New York Rangers and the Nashville Predators. The Penguins will play the Predators on Friday, but Predators have one more game before they head for Stockholm, Sweden. That is against the New York Rangers, 7-7-2. Are the Rangers the Predators, 5-8-4? Game time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Game time in Newark, New Jersey will be at 7 p.m. Eastern as well. Islanders 7-6-2. Devils 11-4-0. Heading into that matchup, Connor McDavid and the Oilers in action on Prime Monday Night Hockey. It's on Monday. It's only on Prime as they host the 7-7-0 Blue Jackets of Columbus at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time, if I'm not mistaken. And the Oilers are 6-6-4. The 7-7-1 Panthers will visit the 7-3-4 Golden Knights in the late window at 10 p.m. The game can be streamed on the French network, and it is also the second of 2 games that will be on the TVA Sports Network, as well as Rangers and Predators. Penguins and Predators play on Friday, but other games to get to before that, and of course the Predators playing tomorrow on Monday, a day before Veterans Day, and of course here in Canada, that is Remembrance Day. And the late window games have begun for tonight's action, but the 8 p.m. game is almost in the books as we speak. Still 1-0 Wild. All right, here we go. Enough gab. We'll get back to Dan Muse eventually. So we will jump right to the shake of the game, which is our player of the game segment on this show. And we also have the game puck of the game, but we'll wait till after Dan Muse speaks to give you that. So this segment is going to end after the out-of-town scoreboard, bringing up the also Monday scoreboard as well over the course of the issues we were having, ladies and gentlemen, with Dan Muse talking post-game. We will hear that as we get to the game puck of the game. And following the game puck of the game, what's next for the Kings? What's next for the Penguins following and during the 2025 NHL Global Series against the Nashville Predators? You'll find out all of that in mere moments as we proceed to wrap this one up. But first, time for our shake of the game. There is a story around why the shake of the game is our player of the game segment, but we'll save it for another time. Here we go. For the victorious Los Angeles Kings, who even up the season series of 2 meetings between the Penguins and the Kings, the shake of the game recipient is going to go to LA Kings goal scorer Anze Kopitar, set to retire after this season. He's had a really good career. Anze Kopitar is going to get our shake of the game recipient. And you know what? Let's actually just bring in the game puck of the game and then wrap it up after we hear Dan Muse following this next break. So our game puck of the game is going to go to the LA Kings goal stopper today, Darcy Kuemper. 33 shots, I should say, faced, 31 shots stopped. 2 of them went in, 1 at even strength, 1 on the power play. Save percentage of .939 was the save percentage for Darcy Kuemper. The game puck of the game goes to LA Kings goaltender Darcy Kuemper. Anze Kopitar with the shake of the game recipient of this game this afternoon, as we are into the evening at the timing of our show here on the East Coast. It is now 10:12 p.m. as we reach the closing points of our show. The Pittsburgh Penguins game puck of the game will go to Penguins goal scorer Tommy Novak, getting things started for the Pittsburgh Penguins with the only even strength goal of the year. Only even strength goal, I should say, of the game. His second of the year. And our game puck of the game, I should say our shake of the game, is going to go to the man of the hour. Sergei Marashov stopped 24 of the 27 shots he faced, gave up a goal on the power play, and 2 goals at even strength to account for the 3 goals he gave up. He will finish the game with a save percentage of .889 and a time of total ice time 58 minutes and 10 seconds. Sergei Marashov, your game puck of the game recipient for Pittsburgh today. I should say your shake of the game recipient of the Penguins today. Game puck of the game went to Tommy Novak, who got things started for the Penguins, but after the power play goal by Anthony Mantha, it was all but over as the Kings scored the next 2 goals in a 5-goal game. The Kings with that 5th goal, and it was the game-deciding goal as they beat the Penguins 3-2 and even up the series at a game apiece for the season. Will the Penguins and the Kings meet in the playoffs? That remains to be seen. One thing we know for sure, they will see each other in the next season, 2026-2027. 2026, yes, 2026-2027, which, note the notes of games, not 82, 83 games will be on the schedule. That's right. 3 games, actually 84. It's either 83 or 84 in the 2026-2027 season. But let's get through 2026-2025, which is currently the 2025-2026 season, I should say. And today the Penguins lose. They lose out the back-to-back. They lost 2-1 in a shootout. They lose 3-2 tonight in Pittsburgh. We're back to wrap it up. Dan Muse, and then setting things up for the Sweden trip coming up when we continue. And in case you missed it before we've hit this break, we will retouch on who the Penguins are playing this Friday and who that team is playing tomorrow at the time of our recording. Penguins postgame continues in just moments.
Take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo. 2 powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
Dan, just thoughts on Sergei in his first NHL game.
I thought he played well. I thought he was, he had to come up with some big saves there for us. Obviously, like that first one's kind of a weird bounce. But no, I thought he played well. He gave us a chance. That's what we need from our goaltenders.
Let's go and have a look at our upcoming schedule. First, for the LA Kings, and we know the Penguins will be playing in the 2025 NHL Global Series, 2 games against the Nashville Predators. We will touch on who the Predators are playing again on Monday, which is tomorrow at the time of our recording. But first, let's go ahead and touch on the Kings, since that's who we are focused on right now. Again, we're waiting out to hear from Dan Muse. We've tried it already the first 2 times when we've come back, and to no avail. So we will see what happens after we are through with the schedule. And if we can't get it working, we will leave a link, as we always do, in our description, or try to do on the ice and behind the benches side. But on Sports for Beginners, we will leave a link, as we always do, so that you can hear or get a chance to hear the coach thoughts of Dan Muse after this game. The LA Kings started the 6-game road trip on the right track. They will head to Montreal on Veterans Day, and of course that is Remembrance Day. This Tuesday night, that's at 7 p.m. Eastern. On Tuesday night, the Kings in Montreal. They will then visit Toronto before they head to Ottawa as they take on Thursday. They will go head to head against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Game time at 7 p.m. Eastern. Following that up with a game on Hockey Night in Canada on Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern from Ottawa. And wrapping up the next 5 here with next Monday, the 17th of November, when the Capitals will host the Kings. That road trip will wrap up with a series in with a game rather, in San Jose at 10 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, November 20th of this year. Unfortunately, fans, we don't have a lot of time left here on our show to hear from Dan Muse, so we will make sure to include his media availability, or where you can find his media availability, rather, in our description. But before we go, what we will do is provide you with the next couple of games after the 2025 NHL Global Series, which features a home and road game in Stockholm, Sweden for the Pittsburgh Penguins. The first game is Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. The Predators will be the home team for that game. Sports for Beginners will have coverage of that game on a special episode of Sports for Beginners for Season 4. On the Ice and Behind the Benches, we'll have the coverage of the game in the morning between the Nashville Predators and the Pittsburgh Penguins, which is the Penguins' home game. Puck drops at 9 a.m. in the morning from the same arena as the Friday game is portrayed. So the difference here is the home team of the game on Friday will be the road team on the game on Sunday morning here in the East Coast, and the road team on Friday will be the home team on Sunday. That also opens up for the Penguins, including the game in Stockholm, Sweden, a 4-game homestand, which wraps up with 3 games back in Pittsburgh against Minnesota on Friday, November 20, 2025 at 7 p.m. Eastern. Then on Saturday night at 7 p.m. Eastern against the Seattle Kraken. Then a Wednesday from this Wednesday and next Wednesday, the Penguins are home to play the Buffalo Sabres just before Black Friday, when they will be on the road in Columbus. Game time for all of those games leading up to that game at home the next Saturday night, after the game at home Saturday night against the Kraken, which is against the Maple Leafs. All of those games starting at 7. The games of the Global Series starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Friday afternoon and 9 a.m. in the morning on Sunday on the East Coast. We will have coverage on the Ice and Behind the Benches and Sports for Beginners, a special Sports for Beginners show, part of Season 4, following the road game between the Penguins and the Predators, who will play the New York Rangers tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, to ultimately determine the record for the Predators going in to Stockholm, Sweden, and the NHL Global Series. The action continues on the Ice and Behind the Benches after the 9 a.m. start between the Preds and the Penguins, as Penguins postgame will follow Dolphins postgame, with the Bills postgame show following right after that on the Ice and Behind the Benches. For now, I am so sorry we weren't able to hear Dan Muse, but it's probably better that we just provide the link in the description of the episode for you to hear for yourself. The Penguins lose this afternoon 3-2 to the Los Angeles Kings. They at least took game 1, which was in LA. They lose the game at home, but they beat LA when LA was the home team. Final score of that game back in the middle of October, 4-2 Penguins. They fall 3-2 in the second game to close out the NHL season between the Kings and the Penguins for the regular season. Enjoy the rest of the hockey if you're staying up for the action currently going on in the 8 p.m. game and those 10 p.m. games over, but the 10 p.m. games have only just begun, so there's still lots more hockey to come. My name is Scott McGregor. Thank you so much for being with us. Would love it if you took a second to rate, review, and share the podcast on either Sports for Beginners or On the Ice and Behind the Benches. As Mike Lang always says, after every Penguins post-game show, after every Penguins victory, I should say, I'll do it regardless of a win or a loss. I had a little spin on it when Justin Brazeau was in the lineup. He is not in the lineup right now, so I'll refer to using Mike's line. So, as we sign off here, ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has just left the building. That is it for us. We'll talk to you on Sports for Beginners after part 1 of the NHL Global Series, and we'll talk to you on the Ice and Behind the Benches after part 2 of the NHL Global Series. Pens and Preds on tap on Sports for Beginners and On the Ice and Behind the Benches. 2 games, 2 different broadcasts, same type of series. Who's going to win the series? Who's going to win game 1? Who's going to win game 2? All questions will be answered in due time. We'll talk to you Friday. Thank you so much for listening to Sports for Beginners. If you would like to learn more about the show, you can visit the podcast Facebook page or visit the official website. You can also send us an email at sportsforbeginnerspodcast 8231 at gmail.com. As we always remind you, it is not goodbye, it is until next time.